Welcome, welcome to episode 5 of I Made a Soundtrack. Losers, we're well in the swing of this now. How much does this look like the filter of me holding the microphone? I'm real. I'm here. I'm excited to be here. It's early in the morning. I don't think I've ever filmed anything this early. And you'll notice I'm not in my usual space. This is Studio B at Middle Farm, a space that I know well because I've made my albums in not necessarily this room, but the main room at this studio. It's somewhere where the walls are like packed dense with memories and feelings. I feel like I learned how to make good coffee in this studio. I feel like I learned how to make good music in this studio. I'm here this week to get out of London, to look after Pete's cats, and to write some songs for the next thing. Being hired to make this soundtrack was by far the most jobbing thing I've done in music so far. And by that I mean it was solid in a way that I really needed at this time. So much of this job feels quite flimsy and hard to hold. You know, you're spending months writing, thinking, feeling. I'm spending days finding a synth sound, moving a snare sample around. Like, that level of zoomed in focus is something I enjoy, but also something that is so maddening and quite abstract. And there's a reason I do this job and not an office job. This life and this world and this craft like suits me and I love it to my bones, but it can be hard to hold and hard to shape your life around, and I just really loved having the deadlines on my calendar, thinking about it constantly, cycling down to my studio, writing most days, going in between to visit Tom to demo the previously written ones. Was in this fast moving cyclical mass of work and focus and with people checking in on me, and I really liked that. But let's talk specifically about this song, The Power. So I knew I wanted something simple and stripped at some point in the soundtrack, but I needed the right episode prompt to align with that. So let's jump to a Zoom call I had with the main heads of the team behind the show. This is what they were looking for episode 5. Episode 5, something with a quite a different tone to the other episodes, would that be right?
I can see now my notes reflect the tough task that we set you with this one. A little sadness and melancholy to underscore Princess's scene, but should then quickly evolve into a positive upbeat ending for Jason and Nikki's scene. So we just need melancholy that quickly evolves into something positive.
Yeah, I do remember this being one of the most challenging, or at least us thinking that this was going to be one of the most challenging ones for you, because it was such a tall order. I think that we were doing a real shift within seconds in the montage. And we weren't quite sure how you were going to pull that off, but you did manage somehow.
The very first song that I wrote for this soundtrack that was never used, and I actually can't even remember if I sent it to the team, but it was the first song that Tom and I demoed, was this song called I'm Not Your Angel. Let's have a quick listen. I'll be the one to stay up at night. You'll be the one to hold me too tight. But that won't leave me any space to grow. So if you really love me, you'll let go. It's a wild ride through the riding, the push-pull, the realizing I'm not your angel anymore. There is something melancholy about this, but again, I had my heart set on something piano-y. So by the time this prompt rolled around, I dug out I'm Not Your Angel and I tried to rework it on piano. So let's listen to that. Honestly, would it kill you to try? 'Cause your body's here, but you're not inside. You couldn't even come and say hello. I love you, but I gotta let you go. I think I wrote a new chorus. Were you scared I wouldn't like everything that I would find when you finally let me up close? So you never let actually really like this listening back. I haven't in ages, but this was the first thing that I submitted for episode 5. So it was like a reworked version of the verse from I'm Not Your Angel with more sections on. I called it Finally Free. This song, bottom line, didn't work. I'm not allowed to show you the clips of the like work in progress of the show, but when they synced it with the montage, the pacing of it and the tone didn't work. So it was back to the drawing board with this, and I do remember this being intense time pressure. I know I said at the beginning, oh, absolutely loving these deadlines and accountability. This might have been a case where I wasn't so loving the deadlines and accountability because the gap of time between the show, folks saying, okay, this isn't going to work, we need a new song, and me having to deliver a new song was very quick. I think I needed to turn it around in a day or two. Not necessarily the final version, but like I needed to write something new straight away. So that is how we landed on The Power. So let's just jump into the stems of this song. I really love this song. It's my dad's favorite. Stamp on arrival, drink in the lobby, a room full of people that don't want to know me. They all seem to be fighting. Man, I hate the overhead lighting. You were the answer, that was the problem. All of the pressure built up like an atom bomb. This idea of the atom bomb was from the very first voice memo that I made when I was writing this version of the song. Like I said, this particular day was like so manic because I was working my ass off to turn this song out really quickly. And I think being under that kind of pressure, I remember drinking loads of coffee. I remember like ordering food in and just grinding away at the piano. Something about the heaviness and the pressure of that day with this stupidness of me going with the atom bomb, I just loved. It clicked. I liked it. Drums were never on the table with this song. Just imagining what the drum groove would do is giving me a deep ick. Oh, I wonder what set it off. Those are my backing vocals. Running 3 tones modular. Something in the absence of drums giving it a little pace. That little world to me there was kind of the hope and the lift, I guess, that the show folk were looking for. And actually, it was much nicer to be not heavy-handed about that lift being like an obvious positive lyric, which is where I was going before. It just actually wanted to be maybe a cycle of the chords like this and a moment to breathe. Self-awareness as a means of survival. Take me somewhere and read me the Bible. It's never been so appealing. Having something to believe in. Let's have a moment for the strings in this song, all played by my friend Charlie, who was someone I met for the first time this day and could not have smashed it more. It's really hard to make just one instrument sound full. Something that she just did amazing. The contrast of Tom's synths that are like warm and organic but are still very much like digital things against the like air of the violin, like not even the layers that have the notes on them, just like that kind of is so nice to me. I remember being unsure about where to take the last chorus. I knew I wanted it to open up and become wider, but again, hard no drums rule. So where we went to in the end was adding these quite like mandolin-y guitars.
Lately I dream of a time and a place where I can coexist with your face in my mind. It might even be nice. Every part of this body I've got. Said not to give you the power, so I gave you the power tonight.
I felt good about having a song like this in the mix and having a breather, having something that isn't an assault on the ears, like not too much information. You know, I'm craving that more and more as a listener. I've been listening to so much like instrumental music as well, because I just feel like, fuck, there's so much going on in the world. I feel so overstimulated so much of the time. Something I'm thinking about as I think to my own next solo record as well, of just having more instrumental sections, letting things breathe, letting things loop and jam and bounce off each other a little more. I think filling every gap with a vocal was something I did a lot when I was younger, and feel like I'm falling further and further out of love with that